Welcome back everyone to the Confidence Reset for Language Learners, episode 10, with me, Emily from Language Travel Adoptee, the series I made for multi-passionate language learners who want some encouragement, joy, and motivation along the way, especially when they feel discouraged. In fact, I've made this episode today for the version of you that has ever felt self-doubt and has wondered if you yourself are even cut out for this language learning thing. Maybe you're getting stuck on the same thing over and over again in your studies. Believe me, it is one of the most frustrating things ever. But I want to give you reassurance today in this episode that you are still on the right path. We talk a lot about our strengths as language learners, and it's great to acknowledge. But of course, we are all humans and we do have weaknesses. So if some sort of vocabulary memorization, some sort of more complex grammar concepts, or more general, broader skills like writing are making us feel stuck, I just want to remind you today, just because one thing is hard does not mean all of it is hard. Just because we might have a weak area in something does not mean that we are not meant to do the whole thing. If I had stopped with French after realizing that word order and pronunciation for me was really hard, I would have lost out on so many unique experiences in that language. More importantly, I probably would have never gone on to learn other languages that were probably better matches for me at that point in my language journey than French was, thereby encouraging me in the future, a long way in the future actually, to try French again. If I had stopped studying Spanish after discovering how tricky it was to keep differences between Italian grammar and Spanish grammar, between similar languages separate, then I would have never made any connections throughout that language. I would have never deepened my relationships back home with native speakers of Spanish either. Neither would I have gotten probably any language internships once returning back to my home after studying abroad. Beyond this, even though generally there were parts of Spanish and French really at a lot of points that were really enjoyable for me and I felt like I got the hang of, sometimes when I felt super discouraged, I just wanted to call it quits on everything and thought, well, maybe this isn't meant for me. And beyond this, I want to encourage you that language learners are not alone here. You are not alone. There are so many other people in other career fields that have had to have extra help with things in their perceived areas, even though now they are considered experts. For example, I know of space engineers who have had to get tutored in math afterwards and spend extra hours on an area of knowledge that just didn't come as easily to them, but they still made it to what they wanted to accomplish. If you've ever known a business owner, they cannot do everything, right? They have to get help with a marketing aspect or a branding strategy, etc. They can't wear all the hats. I've also known a government diplomat who needed help with a strategy for studying for that particular exam from the government, as they themselves were having a hard time with how the actual exam format was given. So obviously, not everything that we're going to encounter in language learning is going to match our strengths. Something will inevitably point out our weaknesses. And despite needing to learn or develop a certain skill in an area of knowledge of your language, since none of us can be good at everything, right? Still know and be reassured that you are still meant to learn this language at this point in time, in this season of your life, and you will continue growing stronger and more knowledgeable about yourself in the end. You are meant to do the thing, I promise, language learners. Now, if you are interested in working with me one-on-one, make sure to book your free discovery call in the description below, and otherwise, make sure to check out this next episode for more confidence in your language learning.